the essence of what I'm saying is that, you know, truth is there, right? Truth is there to be explored and uncovered, and, you know, for us to be the alchemists that we are, and claim our power and look at who we are as these miraculous infinite beings, if you will. Of course, that sounds completely far out for some people. If your level of psychological awareness or understanding is still deeply engraved and ingrained by the indoctrinated programs and the mind control that goes on and has been going on for hundreds of years, and we are a continuation of that. And depending on what generations you're born into a whole set of agreements and beliefs from young, from your parents, and then from your environments and the people you grow up with, and then the things you find and the books you read and so on. So that in itself is really the work. And on this last retreat, and even noticing the last few days and the conversations I've been having, and like, the lies are so woven into the fabric of ourselves and society and so on, that most people are not willing to admit that they are lying, or potentially lying, or could even be lying. And also stories get mixed and moved around, and we had this with one of the people on the retreat, or a couple of people on the retreat, where even when you start telling stories and you fabricate them and mix them up, and they're like a version of other stories that, you know, to some extent there's truth in them, there's essence, there's bits of truth in them, but then they're mixed and matched and made to sound palpable for whoever we're speaking to. And until that's brought into awareness and you get a reflection of that, you know, people don't even see it. They're completely oblivious to it, ignorant to it. And they can still be loving and great people and kind-hearted and want to do whatever, create beautiful things and have some really, let's say, pure intentions. But the essence of where that's coming from is tarnished because of the lies and the unawareness and the ignorance that's just not being even inquired into. So that's a little bit of what was coming up this time in the retreat, and this last sort of week is really having that lie radar on, and again, not to judge people and condemn them, because when we judge people, ultimately what we're doing is we're saying that we're blaming them and holding them accountable and guilty. So that doesn't actually serve us either. If we end up doing that, what we're doing is just playing into the same structures, the same psyche, the same mentality that has actually driven our societies from the foundation of fear and separated us and created conflict and plugged us all into the survival emotions of unworthiness, lack, scarcity, blame, shame, guilt, separation, them and us mentality, the me mentality, the false ego, and that is what we have to see beyond. We have to pull ourselves out of that, and in order to pull ourselves out of that, how I practice that is using the tools that are out there, from breath work to authentic communications, sharings, really connecting with people through the eyes, movement, shaking up what's alive, and meditation, different forms of meditation, silent and guided, but and really bringing yourself out of those dense frequencies. Like alchemists, if we really are alchemists, we can change energy, we can move energy around, and we, through breath and meditation, through awareness, you bring yourself out of those dense frequencies, out of that survival emotions, and you move yourself from particle to wave, from matter to energy. You start to become more lucid, more fluid. And I know that might sound a bit crazy, but it isn't when you start to experience it, because it's all about the constructs of what's been going on inside your mind. So when you start to drop away a lot of beliefs and drop away a lot of labels and constructs and a lot of agreements and false beliefs, then all of a sudden you literally start to receive life force and receive life and this mystery in a very, very different way. You engage with it in a very different way. yeah, just that really. You really, your relationship to all of life really takes on a completely different frequency. But like everything, if you don't do the work and you don't drop into the practices, you don't even feel that. You don't feel the different sensations in your body. You don't become familiar with the potential and the possibilities because you're not even practicing and moving yourself into the experience. So that's what's alive in me today. I never know what's going to come up in these transparency sharings, but that definitely was alive in me in the retreat. I was noting the density, I was noticing the falseness, and it was like really getting another insight into that, and then coming out really seeing how really our thoughts and our feelings, our dominating thoughts and feelings create our state of being, and our state of being magnetizes and projects out to create reality, yeah, and draw reality to us. So it's like this feedback loop that's going on, and when we're in those dense emotions, we're in those lies and those constricted protective selves, we can't even plug into what I'm speaking about here. But when we're in that open-hearted, accepting and opening to and letting go and going, okay, I welcome whatever's here right now, and moving beyond the past and the future, releasing those chains of the past, all of a sudden there's growth, there's elevation, there's potential, there's possibility, there's really, through the transmutation becomes transcendence. But the transmutation has to be a willingness from us. Yeah, it has to be a really a calling to follow that yearning, to follow that call for something more true, more real, more authentic. So rock and roll. I can't even remember what day it is today, but I put it on the video when I put it up. I think it's day 15, but thank you for tuning in. I shall continue my 30 days of transparency, and yeah, feel free to share any comments. Is there any topics you want me to elaborate on? Feel free to send some messages in the comments. Thank you so much. Ciao. Ciao from Bali. Woo! From the rice fields.